now it is time for our special address on Reskilling for Gaming, wherein we're looking at talking about what training a new generation of professional needs at a time when design, engagement, immersion are center stage to any sector and or company. We're now joined by a renowned speaker, Garin, country head, Ecole, Intuit Lab, who's joining us. Thank you so much, Jan, for giving us your valuable time.
Hi, Bhavana. Very excited to be here with you.
Likewise, the excitement is well shared with us as well. Over to you. We'd love to now hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been asked to talk about this particular topic of reskilling for gaming. And there was a little note behind what training a new generation of professionals means at a time when design, engagement, immersion are center stage to any sector and company. It took me a while to understand exactly what was the meaning of that, and I did my research and tried to correlate it to what we are doing here at Ecole Intuit Lab. We are a school of design, game art and game design, so I try to understand how our curriculum can answer this kind of question. So first of all, we would like to know what is the future of gaming, because this is how you are going to decide what to learn, what kind of skills you will need if you can predict what will be the future of gaming. Will it be streaming, for example? Nowadays, there are more and more games that you download and play immediately. It's not like my time where we used to go to the supermarket, to the gaming store and buy a cartridge or a CD or whatever and start playing. Nowadays, you have a lot of games that are available. You choose, you try, you don't like it, you play another one. So it might be the future of gaming. Will it be a VR? VR is a technology that we see more and more in gaming. It's definitely fascinating, gives a lot of opportunities in terms of creative. Lot of new ideas are coming with this new technology, so it might be the future of gaming also. Will it be mobile gaming? You can see nowadays, and especially in India, that there is a real boom of gaming on mobile compared to PC and console, the traditional medium for gaming. So that also could be the future of gaming, right? Will it be this kind of a game, which is called augmented reality? So basically, you are playing in a real environment and you have additional features coming on your screen, and it lets you play in the real world. You all know Pokemon Go, that was a good example of AR. Will it be new controllers? You have crazy controllers coming on the market now. The traditional controller also might disappear. You all play directly on the screen, for example, which is pretty new. You can say it did not exist really in the past in traditional consoles. But more than that, you now have games that you control with your eyes, with your voice, maybe very soon with your brain. You've seen this kind of sensor that you put on your head and start controlling things. So it might be also the future of gaming. And actually, the answer to that is we don't know. We don't know at all what will be the future of gaming, and that's what is going to make it challenging for whoever wants to start into gaming. Why we don't know that? For various reasons. One of them is the trend. The trends are really changing. It used to be for white young people for decades. Suddenly, girls started to play, any ethnicity started to play, young people, old people, rich, poor, basically everybody started to play video game. So it's very difficult to predict what will be the future audience of gaming. Another trend is, if you compare Dragon Quest at the beginning and the version that you have now, there is an incredible improvement in the graphics quality. So we were thinking, okay, now it will be better and better, and the future of gaming will be better quality graphics, right? But I think in 2011, Minecraft came, and suddenly the graphics were not that important. We realized it was very simple graphics, and people realized that you can have a lot of excitement without incredible graphic. Also, there was an animation here, so I'm going to animate it myself. We were thinking that the devices to play games would be more and more complex and powerful. But same thing, suddenly the mobile game came into the picture, and they are less powerful than this big gaming PC or console, but obviously you have them with you all day long, day and night, everywhere. So that's something that people did not really predict neither. The other reason is that gamers, by nature, they are unpredictable. We don't know what they are going to do, what they are going to like, where they are going to be. And that makes it very difficult to imagine what will be the future of gaming. And finally, the gaming get bored extremely easily. You cannot repeat twice the same thing with gamers. And if yourself are gamer, you must know that you want new blood every day, right? On top of that, I'll show you what was using a graphic software some years ago at the beginning. So this is a 3D studio. To use that, you needed to buy a very complex pack of different software, and you need to buy a big book and spend weeks and weeks, even months, to learn every step of making an object with this software. And to have this kind of render, it was not so incredible. I mean, at that time it was, but making that was really a long and tedious process, and you had to a lot to learn. Nowadays, kids can make their own game. I have 2 kids at home, and I can tell you that they love using this kind of software like Scratch. You don't really need to know how to script or to program to make your own game, because you have this visual programming that is available to all, which is quite powerful actually, and with a bit of common sense and logic, you can easily assemble these blocks and make your own game. And if you want to go a bit further, you can easily use a software like Unreal or Unity, and what you are going to see here is actually made in like 20 minutes. You create your scene, place your object, write a bit of code, or you can just copy paste from existing code, and very quickly you press play and you can make this kind of thing, something that is playable, but really in half an hour. So learning software is not really as the center of your future career in gaming. So the question is, then what? What should you do, if you want to have a successful career in gaming in the future? What should you learn? The answer is, it really depends on you. What do you want to do? Do you want to learn how to use this particular equipment to do and redo again what has been created by other people and do that for the rest of your life? Or, like you see on the right, do you want to create new experience and make people's life more enjoyable day after day and always discover new territories? At Ecole Intuit Lab, we believe in this second profile. This is really how we designed our course. We want our students to be creative, to explore new things, and to make games that are not a repetition of what has been done in the past. So for that, I have several tips for you. One is you should be extremely curious of what is happening, like in terms of technology, for example. Explore. For example, you have all this intriguing device. It's great to have a good technology, but what can they bring on the table so your ideas will be even more exciting? In the contrary, you don't want to be the victim of the technology. So it's not because a technology is here that you have to jump in it and make something out of it. It should be exactly the opposite. We also think that you should learn to solve problems intelligently. And any design and any game is really that, solving problems. And once a problem is solved, going to the next problem. And this is how you make a complex game, but which is particularly exciting and interesting. You should also learn to think out of the box. Don't go for the obvious, as I said, don't repeat what has already been done. This is not what is going to lead you to success. Because, as I say, gamers get bored very easily. And if you think, okay, Angry Birds was a big success, so I'm going to make another Angry Birds, you can be sure that it will never be a success. What you have to do is to explore new genders, new way of showing a game, create new experience. Like you see in this game, it looks different from the classic game that you have on the market. If you start exploring this kind of game, you will have more chances to attract people's attention and have more chances to be seen in these big oceans of games that are available nowadays. One important and interesting point in gaming is, for example, the serious games. Serious games is a different way of seeing what game can be used for. So in this case, for example...
But never mind, let's go through it again. Ultimate Sales Manager is a management game. You represent a sales manager, male or female, and your team is made up of 4 salespeople. Your mission? To save a dealership that's in trouble and underperforming compared to others. You have 1 month to sort it out and get back to the top of the table. To succeed, you'll need to fix sales targets for your sales team. Supervise everything that can happen in the showroom. Greet a new client, cars to be cleaned, brochures to be displayed, voicemails to be dealt with, disgruntled staff. Speak with your team members, organise meetings, take management decisions. All of that with complete autonomy, but a real danger of provoking a game over. But don't worry, help is at hand. The league table is updated at the end of each virtual week, along with tips for the following week. At the end of each game, your team provides feedback on your management style. You can reload each virtual week, correct your mistakes, and try to improve your performance. Ultimate Sales Manager is more than an hour's playtime, 6 intermediate missions, a lot of unexpected events, and complete freedom to manage your dealership as if you're really there. So what are you waiting for? Take up the challenge. You too can become the ultimate sales manager.
So that's another very interesting way of seeing gaming, for example. Here it is created by Renault, the French brand of cars. And this is designed for their sales manager to simulate what is to be a sales manager and to do as best as possible with, which is fantastic with gaming, the possibility to fail. And it's okay to fail in a game, but you don't want to fail in the real world. So there is a big avenue for this kind of a business too, which is pretty new. Another interesting example is the gamification. How, like here I'm going to show you in a restaurant, to order a pizza, you can have fun playing a game. So here you have 2 customers, they have a TV screen on their table, and they are going to play and make their own pizza. And you see how all the elements of gaming are used in this interface, which is very different from the traditional way of looking at a menu, reading item by item and placing your order. So that's very interesting also. What we teach also at Ecole Intuit Lab is our students to understand their audience. Many chances that your audience won't be like you. As I said, the people playing games are more and more eclectic. Now you have people from all around the world, talking any language, from any gender, from any social background. So it's very, very important that you place yourself in their shoes before making a game. Another important point is to understand the market. Making a game is quite expensive, it's a big investment. It can also obviously generate very big revenue, but you don't want to go wrong on that. Otherwise it can be very, very painful. So understanding how the market works is extremely important. And finally, it's important to understand your team, especially if you want to work in a big studio like a AAA or a 4A studio. You are going to work with very large team. Very often, the rest of the team won't even be in your country. A company like Ubisoft or partner, they work with other studios in France, in Canada, in Ukraine, in Japan, everywhere around the world. And together, they make the game that you know. So we teach our students how to deal with this large team of people and how they can find their space, how they can be more efficient. So understand pre-production and production, for example, is extremely important in that aspect. I'll quickly show you what our program is made of. So it's a 4-year program We teach all the fundamentals of art for the first year. The second year, we take them through the concept of game art and game design. Very progressively, we are going to the third year, which is the professional training, where they learn the techniques that are used today in a professional studio. They have 2 internships, a short one and a long one, and the final years is an incubator where students make group of 5 students and simulate the creation of a startup and launch their own game. Few examples of the kind of topics of subjects that are taught in the second year. So you see there is a good deal of game design, which is everything about writing games, writing stories, writing the rules, understanding the mechanics of the games, but also concept art, which is transforming ideas into visuals, and all the production that is the 2D, 3D computer graphics and all the subdivision that it generates. The third year is the professional training. So here they are going to learn what is really necessary in a studio to be a professional. Many advanced topics here, and as I say, production and pre-production is really part of the program. And the last year is the incubator, where the students are really making their final game. They also have the possibility to go in UK. We are partner with Abertay University in Scotland, and they can spend their 4th year there and get a degree here. We teach various software that are used in the professional world. 3D software and ZBrush is ready to model and sculpt digitally an object in 3D. Substance is to apply materials and maps on an object. So like this object, for example, has some glass material, some plastic, metal. You can see that on the mountain there is this snow or earth material. All of that is done with a substance. And Unity and Unreal, they are game engines. They are used to test in real time your assets. I'll take you through several possible careers that you can have once your training is over. One is concept artist. So once the game designer is done with writing with words, all the aspects of the game, the descriptions of the character, of the environment, of the mission also of the user, what can be done, what cannot be done, how they are going to get rewards. Then the concept artist is going to transform that into something visual. Okay, so it's a good example. You understand exactly how the environment looks like, how the character looks like, what is the ambience, the kind of light, etc. 2D graphic artists, they are going to paint same what the concept artist has done, or they are going to prepare assets for a 2D game. Games like Candy Crush, for example, are made typically in 2D, or the first Mario Bros. If you like retro games, you have a lot of game in 2D, Mario Bros, Donkey Kong, etc. Then you have the 3D graphic artists. So 3D games nowadays, this is the big majority of what you find on the market. So the 3D graphic artist is going really to transform the concept into something that can be used for a game and controlled. You have the rigging artist. So for a puppeteer, for example, they are using strings and sticks to control the puppet. The rigging artists do that exactly. They put some digital string and stick on the characters, or also on vehicles, for example, or animals, whatever can be animated. So it will make the animation possible by the animators later. The animator, I'm going to play that, so you will see an animation. They are going to move and put any object of the game into movement. So, like in this example, the character seems to be walking naturally. Then we have the UI and UX artists. So nowadays, the interface, for example, is extremely important in a game. Unlike what it was in the past, nowadays gamers don't want to spend time learning how to play a game. They want to download, launch the game, and start playing immediately. So this is done possible because of the UX artists who will make everything obvious and intuitive. While the UI artist is going to design the interface to make it, like in this case, very attractive and keep some unity with the rest of the game. You have the VFX artists who are going to add a lot of sparkles, flames, explosion, dust. It will help to give realism to the game. The technical artist is really the person between the artist and the engineer. Unlike for movie, you need to limit the quality of your game because it will be real time. So the computer needs to be able to calculate your image instantly. That's the big difference with cinema, where you can spend weeks if you need to render one single image. So the technical artist is really going to optimize the assets so it will be playable smoothly. And finally, you have all the roles of the leader. After a while, with some experience, you might want to become a lead artist. That means to give instruction in what you are good at. So for example, if you are a very good animator, you might want to have your team of animators and give the main instruction and let them do the repetitive tasks, for example. Art manager, they give also instructions and take decisions on everything that is related to the visual. And finally, the art director is really the persons who are going to take the global decision about the game, really how the game should look like. And it leads to our creative director, The creative director takes all the decision. This is their game. So the big names that you know in gaming, they are generally creative directors. I'll show you some example of what our students do. So the first year, they do everything by hand. So Clay is part of the program to really understand what is 3 dimension before going digital. They do it on Clay. They do some concept art, so experimenting of how, for example, a character can look like, or an object also. In this case, from a traditional scooter, these students managed to make something that will be particular for a game, for example. Then from the concept, they are going to move it to simple 3D. So this is called low polygon 3D. That means it's a 3D object, but made with very, very few surfaces like that, few triangles here. And I'll give you an example of a more elaborated project starting from the concept. So here a brief was given. Okay, you have to make a wizard library for a fantasy project, for example. So the students here started drawing and finding ideas, then make assets in 3D and placing texture, developing all the assets for the library, and then assembling everything, adding lights to make a playable environment where the user can circulate, and you see the level of detail can be very high. I'll give you another example of concept art, for example, made by one of our students. So this is a digital war, and you see how far the students can go in terms of realism, but not only, also in terms of ambience in this case, for example. And finally, I'll show you the demo of our third-year students.
Hello?
So you can have an idea of what they do in their training.
Abhishek.
All right, so as you see, it's not a question only of being good technically, it's really, and more importantly, getting good ideas and being able to stage your ideas into something that is dramatic, that tells a story, that creates emotion. That's all for me. Thank you very much for listening. And please don't hesitate to contact us if you are interested into a career in gaming. We'll help you to understand better how you should start.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jan. What an incredible session that was. Thank you once again for joining us today.
My pleasure.